Shaman Weaver Sheila Baker here. So I just finished teaching day 1 of my 5-day challenge, Fearless as Fuck, where we look at the myth of fear and learn how to have power over it and how to use fear as a powerful motivator to become more of who we are and have more of what we want in life, whatever that is. You know, we're spirit beings having a physical experience, and the only way that spirit gets to express is through us. So if you deny yourself of having a desire because you're afraid, maybe you're afraid of what someone else will say, or maybe you're even afraid of what you will say about it, then spirit has no place to manifest. So beyond this 5-day challenge, I take you into a 4-week course where we start to debunk the idea that having pleasure and being on the other side of fear is unspiritual and that it is not meant to happen. So when you find that you're stuck, I want you to imagine that you're not really stuck. You're merely on pause as you begin to sort that out for yourself. And when you do it by yourself, what ends up happening is that you only have your own frame of reference. And what you were taught when you were in school and when you were learning early, even before, you were taught a lot of fear. A 5-year-old hears, these are old stats, so it could be updated by now, but a 5-year-old hears 65,000 no's. How does that kid ever get to yes? So is it any wonder if we get that in the first 5 formative years of our life, when we're reaching for things, when we're exploring, when we want to know what things are and how they work, that we get this response over and over and over again. We got, don't touch that, stop that, be careful. And so those are all constricting kinds of things. And then we get put in school, and for we're no longer running around being free and learning. We're now sitting. And before that, we get schooled into have to take a nap at this particular time. We get taught a lot of things early on in our lives that just don't work. So what if the basis for a lot of things that you've been taught, you've been schooled in, are actually all wrong? What if that feeling of fear is actually meant to do something different than stop you and put you on hold? Maybe it is meant to make you curious, and maybe it's meant to make you be a better explorer and adventurer in your life. So, what if you take that information, that what you learned was all wrong, and you begin to do something different with it? What can you imagine that would happen in your life if that were true? If you went, oh, you know what? That concept that I was given when I was 2.5, or even 2.5 months, or even 2.5 months ago, is no longer accurate. As we go through our lives, things that fit before don't fit anymore. I mean, clothes, attitude, glasses, hairstyles, earrings, none of the old stuff necessarily works anymore. So when you have the ability to really go, oh, you know what? I learned these things, but I'm going to question them. I'm going to ask, is this true for me right now? They might not be. So when you begin doing some of that soul searching, it's a really lovely idea to have someone to guide you. Fearless as Fuck is 5-day challenge to help you break that old calcified thinking about what fear is and turn it into something that is highly motivational, directional, and can be your ally and your guide. And when we begin to decalcify those old habits, those old connections, then we free up a lot of energy. We free up our attitudes that are stuck and rigid into something that's fluid. It shows up in our life because, well, when you change this little 3-pound brain that loves to take power over the body, and you tell it, no, that's not going to work like that, it begins to seek other methods, because the mind, the reptilian brain, wants you to be safe. So there's this pull to safety. But the mind, the brain, does all the work. The mind wants to go out and look. Oh, what's that all about? What's that? It's like a 3-year-old. But we've capped the learning on it. We've said curiosity can be cured. And so what we ended up doing was talking ourselves, well, being talked out of or told out of or schooled out of it, and then talking ourselves out of being curious about wondering why things are the way they are. Why can we always see the one surface of the moon? I know what they tell us, but why? When we have the courage to ask those questions, we get to ask those questions of ourselves. Why am I doing this in this particular way? It worked 6 years ago, or 6 months ago, or maybe even 6 minutes ago. That doesn't mean it's going to work now. When you give yourself the opportunity to look into your behavior and why you're holding on to certain behaviors, and are they still working for you, you become fearless because you're looking into yourself. That takes courage. So I thank you for all the courage that you've had so far. And I encourage you to be more brave, more bold, more ballsy, and to bust some of the shackles that hold you, that stop you from being fearless and who you are. So Bliss, everybody, have a great night, and I will see you in a couple of days. Oh, you can also join the challenge. I'm going to close the doors tomorrow, but you have the opportunity to join me up until tomorrow evening. All right, bye-bye, and I'll put the link in for you. Thanks.